I'm Elise Explosion, and I am here with you today just to kind of have just like a little chatty catch-up vlog sort of thing. Because it's been a really wild week. Like, really, really wild week. And I feel like the best way to get it out of my system is to just talk to everybody about it. So I got my sody. I have my coconut soda in here. And I figured, let's chat. Because this week has been absolutely bonkers. So, as with most things in my life, it's mostly work related. But I think this is a nice, good story to share with the class so that everybody can kind of see where I'm at right now. Because I know that my uploads have been a bit sparse. So yeah. So this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, I was out in the field it was an old abandoned military warehousing area. All of the buildings had been torn down. There were traces of roads, but the county had bought the land years ago and was basically leaving it to just kind of like reclaim itself. Problem is there's a lot of contamination, so there's been a lot of investigations, soil and groundwater wise. So I was out there for a multitude of tasks, but for starters, checking the monitoring wells to see what kind of condition they were in, and if we could sample them or, you know, place some sampling objects in them, so to speak. So it's me and my one coworker. And Tuesday was supposed to be the easy day. So we get out there and we were supposed to locate 22 wells and gauge them, you know, measure the amount of water that's in the wells. That's not a particularly difficult task, but when you see the scale of this site, it's big. It's really big. It's a couple of acres, severals of acres. I don't know the exact acreage off the top of my head, but it is definitely in the 2-digit range. Easy to get lost, very overgrown. So we're looking and we're finding some of them, and others were not so much. The project manager comes out with us and he points out some of the ones that, because he'd been out there years ago and knew where they were approximately and could kind of navigate us to the general vicinity as to where they were. So he leaves. We have an incident with some equipment. We get that settled out and we start locating the wells to try to gauge them. So one of them, he had told us, oh, well, if you walk down this gas line, you should be able to get to it. So we walk down this gas line. And mind you, everything here, because it's like basically reclaimed forest, is starting to overgrow. Like so much overgrown. So there's reeds up to my waist. And we're walking through and it is tick central. There are ticks everywhere. They are clinging to my legs. They are crawling in my hair. I am pulling them out of the base of my hair. They're everywhere, flicking them off my pants, flicking them off my body. They're pervasive. And we get to where we think this well is, and I look down at my pants, and I'm wearing like light tan colored pants, like khakis, and there are little brown dots all over it, and each one of these little brown dots is a tick. And I start like losing it because there are very few things in this world that I'm afraid of, and Lyme disease is one of them. I really don't want to deal with that. So I'm like flicking them off, and ultimately we don't find the well. This was a long walk to this particular area, so we're like, okay, let's go out to the main road and see if we can just walk up the main road from there, because that'll be a little bit easier. What we didn't realize is that the walk to the main road is completely submerged, and it is like you're walking on quicksand or jello of mud, and I fall. And in the process, both of my shoes come off. So now my socks are covered in mud, my shoes are covered in mud, and my everything is covered in mud, and I lose it. Somehow I don't lose my phone. I don't know how I did that. That was incredible. So now I'm hobbling up the road barefoot, and I step on a thorn bush. And that also just set everything back. So we get to the truck, and I am just covered in mud. From like the waist down, covered in mud. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna do what we need to do for the rest of the day. We're gonna call it. We're gonna come back tomorrow. So I get back, get home, do a tick check, find one on the back of my leg, remove that, get a shower, head back out, get some dinner with some friends, and call it a night. Around 4 a.m., I start scratching my lower back. I'm like, oh wow, that's a weird scab. It's not a scab, it's another tick. And I freak out because it's 4 a.m. and there's a tick on my body still, to the point where I basically just kind of like dropped it in this water bottle. It's still in here. It's been like 2 days, 3 days, and it's still alive in here, which is like really freaking me out. I can't believe that happened. Why haven't I gotten rid of it yet? I don't know. This week's been crazy. So that really set the precedent for the next day. So Wednesday, we get on site about the same time. We have another another person's with us, helping us out. And we start like going to town on the stuff that we need to do. Cracking down on all of the sampling that we need to do. We get our water samples taken care of for the most part, minus the one well that we couldn't find yet. Put a pin in that. And we head up to like the northernmost area where we need to collect some soil samples. We need to do, I think, 10 surface soil samples, which is basically just dig in the dirt, get some of the topsoil, put it in a jar, move on. So we're walking around. This area is, as with everywhere else on site, completely overgrown. So we're up in the northern area, trying to find all the areas that we need to sample, and walking around, and I find a bunch of bones. And I collect, scavenged bones. It's kind of a strange hobby, but I mean, I'm a goth, so like we kind of expect it at this point in time. So we're looking around, there's some really cool things, and all of a sudden I see a skull. And there is this beautiful, beautiful juvenile buck skull that I'll pop a picture of in. And I'm just over the moon. This is one of my Grail finds. Most people have Grail dolls. I have Grail skulls. And like I said, it was either died of natural causes or was, victim to the local predators. This was not, I didn't kill it. I just encountered it. So I'm like, cool, this guy's coming with me. And I grab it, and there's a little bit of like spiderwebby kind of stuff in the nasal passage. And I take a stick and I kind of like clean that out. It's like, all right, fine, move on. So we're carrying it around for the rest of the day. And I bring it into the truck, and I tell my coworker to hold it for me because we're all like super stoked. This is the coolest thing. And he takes one look at it and he puts it down and he goes, Elise, there's a giant fucking spider in here. And I was like, what? So I pick it up, and sure enough, where the spider webs I cleared out were, was indeed a giant fucking spider. Now, I'm not afraid of spiders. I've got no beef with spiders. They're pals. So I just kind of opened the door and kind of scooted him out so he could go about his merry way and find another bone to live in, I suppose. So I bring it back to the office. I put it on my desk as my new trophy, and we go back to the site, finish some work up there, no issues for the rest of the day, get back in, do my paperwork, go home, fin. Next morning, I get into the office because I have an office day. Now we're on Thursday, mind you. This is Thursday, yesterday. And I'm talking to one of the admin staff in the office, and I tell her about the cool skull that I found, and I bring it over to show her. And as I'm showing her, I start to hear it buzz and vibrate. And I gently rotate the base to see that there is a very large paper wasp's nest inside the skull cavity. This is bad. So I run outside, put the skull down on the ground, and start spraying it with the only thing that I could find, which was garage door degreaser to take care of the stinging nemesis that were about to come for me. I took out about 5 of them, and then I'm like, I need to find something to do with this. I can't leave this in. So I pick it up and I start like jabbing the nest with chopsticks. And I bring it into the warehouse. I run it under hot water in the sink to kind of loosen everything up. And I leave it there to dry out. Half an hour goes by. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go check on it. And I get back out to the garage, and there are 2 more wasps crawling all over it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm in big trouble now. So I proceed to introduce those wasps to the garage door degreaser. And then I take a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water and some cleaning solvent, take the skull, submerge the skull, and put a lid on it. And I leave it in the warehouse with a note that says, if you open this and your name's not Elise, you deserve everything that's coming to you. Very clever, truly. So that's how that goes. Or so I thought. Now, the skull is still contained. And like 2 hours later, we look up and there's a wasp in the office. And it flies straight into the smoke detector. And we all know where this wasp has come from. We all know that it's my wasp that came from my skull that I found because I was the genius that decided to bring the bones back to the office. I realize this makes me sound kind of cuckoo bananas. That's fine. So we start chasing after this wasp and it's like, it disappears. It's gone. I get some lunch, come back, and all of a sudden it makes a reappearance. And I'm out of degreaser and I can't really go spraying the degreaser around the office, but instead I am armed with Windex. And I get the Windex and I spray this fucker and it lands right in one of my coworkers' cups. It's not quite dead yet, so I trap it in the cup with like a field notebook, so it's weighted down, it's not going anywhere. My buddy comes over, he sees that I have trapped the danger, and he goes, picks it up, and he brings it outside and disposes of it summarily. So that's been my adventure with the wasps. And then today happened, and I really don't want to talk about that. Work was fine, but it's just kind of on like a political level that I really don't really feel good about things at the moment. But anyway, friends, that's been my absolutely bonkers cuckoo bananas week. I hope you got some enjoyment out of this. I had like one sip of my sippy drink. But yeah, I'm just trying to I'm going up to my folks this weekend. We're going to be able to do some filming. I'll be able to talk about the plethora of dolls that I have stockpiled. Maybe some other things as well. I'm really looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. Multiple weekly uploads. And yeah, I think that's it. How are y'all doing? I hope you're doing okay. Please take the care that you need. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you'd like to see more storytime videos, you're in luck. I got a bunch of those, and I'll link some at the end of this. Everybody take care, be well, and I will see you in the next video. Later.